Have you ever stopped to wonder if you're really getting everything you can out of that plant-based protein shake? Well, today we're digging into some really fascinating research that shows how a fruit you see all the time, the kiwi fruit, could be the key to unlocking a whole lot more nutrition.
So it seems like everyone these days is trying to eat more plant-based foods, right? We're grabbing things like pea protein powders, tofu, almond milk, all of these awesome sources of alternative protein.
But here's the kicker. Are you actually digesting all that good stuff? Turns out, our bodies can have a much harder time breaking down these plant proteins compared to animal ones, and that little digestive challenge can seriously limit the benefits we're aiming for.
Okay, so here's what we've got on tap for this explainer. We're going to start with this whole plant protein puzzle. Then we'll uncover kiwi fruit's secret weapon. We'll take a peek inside the lab stomach where all the action happened, check out the incredible results, compare green versus gold kiwis, and then wrap it all up with what this means for you. All right, first things first, let's tackle the plant protein puzzle. We need to understand why this is even a thing to begin with. So what's really going on here? Well, you can think of a plant protein like a super tightly wound ball of yarn. It's got this really compact folded structure. And because it's so dense, it's naturally more resistant to our body's own digestive enzymes. They kind of struggle to get in there and start snipping it apart. But what if nature already made a tool that could help unravel that yarn for us? Let's jump into section 2 and meet kiwi fruit's not-so-secret enzyme. Okay, the hero of this story has a name, Actinidin. It's a special kind of enzyme, a protease, which means its whole job is to digest protein, and you find it pretty much exclusively in kiwi fruit. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a natural meat tenderizer. It is incredibly good at breaking down those complex protein structures, which gives your own digestive system a huge head start. Now that all sounds fantastic, but how do we know it works? This is where science comes in. Let's head into section 3, inside the lab stomach, and see how they put this theory to the test. So what researchers did was use something called an in vitro digestion model. It's basically a lab setup that mimics our digestive system. First, there's the oral phase, where they crush up the food, just like we chew. Then comes the gastric phase, where it goes into a simulated stomach, acid and all. And finally, the intestinal phase, which copies what happens in the small intestine. It let them watch the whole process, step by step. And this, my friends, brings us to the really exciting part, the results. What actually happened when they threw kiwi fruit into the equation? The setup for the experiment was super simple, but really clever. They ran 2 tests. In the first one, they just watched how well our normal digestive enzymes broke down the proteins by themselves. Then they did the exact same test, but this time they added some kiwi fruit extract. This head-to-head comparison would show exactly what difference the kiwi made. First on the list was pea protein. By itself, digestion was, well, slow. But when they added the kiwi fruit extract, the breakdown was, and I quote, highly accelerated. In fact, most of the whole pea proteins were totally gone within the first few minutes. I mean, that's a massive difference. So what about soy protein from tofu? You guessed it, the exact same story. Tofu digested okay on its own, but with the kiwi fruit extract, the whole process was significantly faster. And what's really interesting is that the soy proteins actually broke down even quicker than the pea proteins did. And the pattern just kept going with almond protein. Once again, pretty sluggish digestion on its own, but add that kiwi fruit extract and the scientists saw a rapid breakdown of its main protein structures. So the takeaway here is crystal clear. For pea, soy, and almond, kiwi fruit gives your digestion a serious boost. Okay, so now you might be thinking, when I'm at the grocery store, does it matter which kind of kiwi I grab? Good question. Let's see how the green and gold varieties compare. This chart tells you pretty much everything you need to know. The standard green kiwi fruit, that's the Hayward variety, is absolutely loaded with that actinidin enzyme. The sun gold variety has it too, but just not as much. We're talking about 3.5 times less than the green kind. But here's the really important part. Even with less of that enzyme, the sun gold kiwi fruit was still found to be highly effective. The researchers said it had significant positive effects on protein digestion. So while green might have a little more oomph, both of them absolutely get the job done. So let's pull all this lab stuff back into our everyday lives. What is the big digestive takeaway for you? You know, the researchers themselves summed it up perfectly. This quote from the paper says it all. Both types of kiwi fruit can lead to better breakdown and digestion of these proteins when you eat them with a meal. It doesn't get much clearer than that. And who does this help the most? Well, the study pointed out a few specific groups. Athletes, for one, who are looking for faster amino acid absorption to help with muscle repair. Also the elderly, because our digestive ability can sometimes decline as we age. And really, anyone with a sensitive digestive system. Or of course, anyone on a high-protein plant-based diet who just wants to make sure they're getting every last bit of nutrition. And that leaves us with one last, really cool thought to chew on. This whole story about kiwi fruit and protein, it isn't just about one fruit. It opens up this much bigger, more exciting question. What other powerful food pairings are out there just waiting to be discovered? It really makes you think that maybe, just by pairing the right foods together, we could unlock a whole new level of nutrition from the meals we already eat every day.